अध्यक्ष जी, दो प्रश्न उठाए गए हैं। पहला प्रेमचंद्रन जी ने उठाया कि जो क्लॉज 21 है उससे संविधान के बुनियादी ढांचे पर असर पड़ता है। उनका तर्क यह है कि संविधान बनाने का, संविधान बदलने का जो अधिकार है, संशोधन करने का अधिकार है, वो केवल संसद को है, और धारा 21 में स्पष्टीकरण देने का जो अधिकार राष्ट्रपति जी को दिया गया है, उससे उस बुनियादी ढांचे का उल्लंघन होता है। मैं स्पष्ट कर दूं कि केवल संविधान नहीं, कोई भी कानून बनाने का अधिकार संसद को है, और उस कानून बनाने के अधिकार के तहत केवल एक सीमित धारा लगभग हर विधायक कानून में होती है कि अगर इस कानून को लागू करते वक्त पहले 2 वर्ष में कोई तकलीफ आएगी, उस उलझन के संबंध में कोई स्पष्टीकरण देना होगा। इफ एनी डिफिकल्टी अराइजेस, then there will be a presidential order clarifying that difficulty. That has been a convention since 1952. Such a clause is there almost in every other law as far as India is concerned. Now, even when the original constitution was drafted, Article 392 was put in the constitution. I may just clarify, the 42nd amendment was repealed by the 44th amendment, not because of that clause with regard to clarification, because the 42nd amendment in its entirety was against the basic structure. The 42nd amendment wanted to do away with the basic structure and say Parliament has a power to amend every provision of the Constitution. 42nd amendment wanted to say कि कोई अगर गैर कानूनी काम होता है, उसको हाई कोर्ट में चुनौती देने के लिए जो धारा संविधान की 226 है, आर्टिकल 226, उसके जो अधिकार क्षेत्र हैं उसको सीमित कर दिया जाएगा। तो 42nd अमेंडमेंट के माध्यम से, क्योंकि मौलिक अधिकार, संवैधानिक अधिकार, उनका हनन हो रहा था, इसलिए 1978 में 44वें संशोधन के माध्यम से 42वां संशोधन रद्द किया गया था, और उसके अतिरिक्त एक अन्य संशोधन संविधान को मजबूत करने के लिए लाया गया था ताकि इमरजेंसी दोबारा ना लग सके। इमरजेंसी लगाने के अधिकार पे भी सीमाएं डाल दी गई थी, और इमरजेंसी के दौरान जो धारा 352 में लगती है, 359 के तहत जो राष्ट्रपति को अधिकार था, सरकार को अधिकार था कि सारे मानवीय अधिकार सस्पेंड कर दिए जाएं, जिसकी वजह से सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा था कि किसी को अदालत जाने का, दरवाजा खटखटाने का अधिकार नहीं है, और धारा 21 भी उसमें सस्पेंड हो सकती थी। उसको भी 1978 के अंदर स्पष्ट किया गया था कि लोग अदालत में जा सकते हैं इमरजेंसी के दौरान भी। तो सन 78 में 44वां संशोधन उसकी वजह से आया था, इसकी वजह से नहीं आया था। नॉट ओनली दैट सच अ प्रोविजन एग्जिस्ट्स इन एवरी लेजिस्लेशन, द ओरिजिनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑल्सो हैड सच अ ट्रांजिशन प्रोविजन which is Article 392, कि between the framing of the Constitution, which was November 1949, and then the Constitution came into force on 26 January 1950, between the Parliament being constituted in 1952, so a 2-year gap, that if during these 2 years any transition difficulty arises, does the Constituent Assembly have to meet again? दोबारा संविधान सभा को बनाना पड़ेगा? उन्होंने कहा नहीं। इस अवधि काल में, इस 2 साल के अवधि काल में 1950 से लेकर 1952 तक जो कोई इस प्रकार की अगर उलझन आएगी तो उसको राष्ट्रपति के आदेश के माध्यम से उसको हल किया जा सकता है। Such a provision exists in every law, and therefore there is no question of such a provision. It existed in the original Constitution. So what existed in the original Constitution, if it exists in a Constitution amendment, because we are transiting from a mode of taxation itself, would not violate the basic structure of the Constitution.
This proviso is very clear, and basic original Constitution Article 392, power of the President to remove difficulties, provided that no such order shall be made after the first meeting of the Parliament. That means if the Parliament is in existence, definitely the president has no right to amend the constitution. And absolutely I do agree with the honorable minister regarding so many other laws, there is a provision to remove the difficulties. But my case is, in none of the amendments from first amendment from June 1951 to this constitutional amendment, none of the constitutional amendments have a provision so as to give the power to the president to amend the constitution, since it is an extraordinary power and exclusive power which is vested upon the parliament. Okay. 392 is only in the case that is very clear. 392, that is my case. I have read the article 392. 392 is very specific, saying that when the parliament, this power is only up to the parliament comes to existence. Till then, these difficulties can be removed.
It is not, please, it is not a power to amend the constitution. There are separate provisions where president has been given power to amend the constitution. I'll show you those provisions also. This is a power given to the president. This is a power to remove difficulties. The power to remove difficulties, which is, otherwise, how would you say, lawmaking is only a parliamentary function, it is not a presidential function. But in every law which is made, the power to remove difficulty is with the president, which means the council of ministers aiding and advising the president. Similarly, in the original constitution, till the parliament is made, because there was a 2-year gap, similarly, the power to remove difficulties is not indefinite. It is only in a transition phase, and that is why clause 21 uses the word in a transition phase. If any difficulty arises, the power to remove difficulties will be there. I'll also show you the power to amend the constitution given to the president. You can turn to an article which is well known. Turn to Article 370. Now everybody has heard of Article 370 and the circumstances how it was brought. Turn to sub-article 3. Now read it. Notwithstanding anything in the foregoing provisions of this article, the President may by public notification declare that this article shall cease to be operative or shall be operative only with such exceptions and modifications as from such date as he may specify. Therefore, sir, I have the power of the question is there a power given under the Constitution to the President to make any adaptation changes if there is a difficulty? The answer is yes. Is such a power there in every other law? The answer is yes. Therefore, such a power in a constitution amendment that during a transition phase, limited in number of period of time, not indefinite, all such power is limited only to a transition phase. Is there a power to the President to make some transitional changes and corrections? Now, even under many original laws, your Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act, the presidential power itself has removed a lot of problems. Because when you divide a state and you divide assets of states, etc., it is presidential power which is then exercised to remove difficulties. Now, the power in Andhra Pradesh, for instance, I'll give you another illustration. In the Reorganization Act, law and order is a state subject. Now you have the state of Telangana, you have the state of Andhra Pradesh. But Hyderabad for 10 years is the common capital. It is under that power that the law and order power is to be exercised by the governor, who shall be common for some transient period. Now, because when a law is being given a transient effect, when a bifurcation of the state takes place, it's an unusual situation. So the UPA government itself justified it. I had raised this question, and they justified it, probably rightly so, on the question that in a transition provision, unusual difficulties will arise, the Constitution has to be made workable, and therefore this power will be always with the Constitution. Regarding the question of standing committee, sir, I would be one with all the members in the importance of the standing committee. स्टैंडिंग कमिटीज आर इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज स्टैंडिंग कमिटीज में हर पार्टी के लोग होते हैं। स्टैंडिंग कमेटी के माध्यम से आप एक कंसेंसस बन जाता है, उसका एक लाभ रहता है। इसलिए हर प्रमुख प्रोमिनेंट लेजिस्लेशन जो है वो स्टैंडिंग कमेटी से जाता है, लेकिन ऑर्डिनेंसेस अक्सर नहीं जाते। उसी प्रकार से किसी बिल में बहुत एकाध सेक्शन का परिवर्तन हो तो स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में नहीं जाता। खड़गे जी ने कहा कि लोकपाल बिल, पूरा लोकपाल बिल तो स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में भी गया, सिलेक्ट कमेटी में भी गया। केवल इसलिए स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में दूसरी बार नहीं गया क्योंकि प्रश्न था सीबीआई डायरेक्टर की नियुक्ति होनी है, उसमें प्रधानमंत्री होंगे, चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया होंगे और लोकसभा के लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन होंगे। अब क्योंकि फॉर्मल लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन नहीं है तो क्या विपक्ष को कंसल्ट करे या ना करे, एक अर्जेंसी अराइज की। डायरेक्टर की नियुक्ति 1 तारीख तक होनी थी, तो खड़गे जी को उसमें कैसे लाया जाए यह प्रयास था। खड़गे जी को उसमें कैसे लाया जाए यह प्रयास था। अगर हम कहते हैं इसको स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में भेज दो, अगले सेशन में पास करेंगे और तब तक बिना खड़गे जी के इसको पास कर दो, नियुक्त कर दो, तो उसको आप गैर लोकतांत्रिक कहते। तो बिना स्टैंडिंग कमेटी के जो लोकतांत्रिक पास का बिल पास हुआ उसका संशोधन वो केवल इसलिए था कि खड़गे जी कहीं ना कहीं उस नियुक्ति में बाहर ना रह जाए, यह अर्जेंसी थी, आपको मालूम है। और इसीलिए आप लोगों ने उसका कोई बहुत विशेष विरोध भी नहीं किया था। इसी कारण से ये जो बिल है सर, दिस बिल हैज, लेट्स डिस्कस दिस। This bill has gone through the standing committee for 2.5 years. But this bill is a particular bill where not only power of the parliament is involved or the central government is involved, the power of the states is also involved. So there is a delicate balance to be brought, wherein consensus has to be brought between the center and the states as to how the power under GST is to be exercised. And therefore, the UPA government followed a practice, and a correct practice, that they constituted an empowered committee of chief ministers. I said it on the last occasion, but I am repeating it again. The convention was have somebody not from the ruling party to chair that committee. And therefore, it should be his onus along with the central government to bring a consensus. Now, barring some issues, there is a broad consensus. When I say some issues, your state has an issue. Therefore, let me straight away, and I've been in discussion with them. They have raised it. We have tried to give them a comfort level. Now, we have brought a consensus between the state. Now, it is the majority of the parliament which is involved and all political parties. Now, there are political parties which are represented through their chief ministers in that committee. Empowered committee. Pardon? And all those chief ministers, finance minister, I'm sorry, Mr. Mehtab is right in correcting me, finance ministers, and all the states, including Odisha, including West Bengal. And let me tell you, Mr. Mehtab, states like Odisha and West Bengal from day one are going to be the beneficiaries of this process. And the difference is, having spent 2.5 years in the standing committee, having had dozens of meetings of the empowered committee of the finance ministers, if you want to further delay it, the effect is going to be that the 1st April 2016 deadline will be lost. And if 1st April 2016 deadline is lost, then the whole financial year is going to go. Now, this is a bill where we are targeting, after this bill, 3 legislations with regard to the central law, the state law, and the IGST will be brought, which will be cleared first by the empowered committee. Now, there is no provision that states clear a central law. राज्य तो नहीं अप्रूव करते केंद्र का लॉ, लेकिन इसमें क्योंकि एक दूसरे के अधिकार शामिल होंगे। अब मान लीजिए अब इन स्टैंडिंग कमेटी की आम राय ले ली और कुल मिलाकर स्टैंडिंग कमेटी के बाद जो एक या दो बड़े चेंजेस हुए हैं, जो एक प्रमुख चेंज हुआ है, एंड दैट prominent change is how to compensate a state if it is running into a loss. Now, we can't have a situation where Parliament decides something and the state finance ministers decide something else. The two have to work in harmony. This is a kind of statesmanship and harmonious relationship between the center and the state we have to see. Now, every state government of the Congress party, I underline the word every, has supported it. The left parties spearheaded the campaign. In fact, Mr. Asim Das Gupta used to meet me when I was in opposition to persuade us that you must immediately comfort the manufacturing states, which were Gujarat and Maharashtra, so that they immediately withdraw the objection and agree to this. West Bengal is in the forefront, Odisha is in the forefront. These are all states which are, Kerala is in the forefront. The Kerala's finance minister is now heading it. Now, if Parliament in its wisdom wants to decide we want to delay GST, then the whole process is going to get delayed. So my respectful submission is, this argument is no longer valid, that it has not gone to a standing committee. It has spent 2.5 years before the standing committee. Thereafter, it has spent dozens and dozens of meetings of empowered committee of finance ministers under 3 different finance ministers and 4 different chairpersons. It is only then that a consensus between the center and the states, almost a near unanimity, has been achieved at. After that, if we want to delay it, I would suggest no purpose would be served, and therefore the government is extremely keen, and I would literally request you, beseech you, that after all there are some issues in the life of a nation, we have to rise above partisan considerations. And once all our chief ministers are agreeable, why should we delay it? And delay means we are delaying it by 1 more financial year. 1 more financial year means your states, the consuming states, are going to lose for 1 more year. And therefore the central government is extremely keen, sir, that it goes ahead.